I say to you, Happy Halloween. It is the day of thrills, chills, and the tricking and the treating. Speaking of which... Midbis! Hand me a knife! I am needing to carve this pumpkin of emptiness. No. Well, let's forget about the damn pumpkin carving and get to something that everyone can enjoy without getting their flesh pierced. Oh, Bowser, take it easy. It's not that bad. All you need is a little Neosporin and maybe a new arm. Anyways, let's talk about something that everyone can relate to. Fear. Aside from ominous music, the thing that scares gamers the most are enemies. There are pathetic enemies, annoying enemies, and then there are those enemies that just, for some reason or another, scare the living shit out of you, or have done so in the past. We all have them. So let's take a look at the top 10 scariest enemies in video games. Enjoy, and be very afraid. Whoa, what's this? Luigis Mansion? But that's a kid's game. I know it's not grade A shit your pants scary, but just hear me out. If you played this when you were a kid, I know that this game scared or surprised you at one point. Don't lie to yourself. The first sign of shock was when you first enter the mansion. Everything seems fine. You search upstairs to find a door to enter. You try and open the door to the parlor, and you are greeted with the locked door and the eerie voice of someone downstairs. When I first played this at the age of 9, I heard that voice and couldn't move for a few minutes. So once I recovered, I reluctantly went downstairs to investigate. And then this happened. It's nothing too shocking or too unbearably scary. It's just creepy, especially for a Mario game. Not to mention... Wow. Just... wow. Just imagine playing this game all alone in the middle of the night as a little kid. Everything's alright. Just looking around, and all of a sudden... The ghosts from a Luigi's Mansion are only number 10 because they're pretty much nothing today. But because of all the shock it gave me as a kid, and to many others, I had to put them somewhere on the list. Pikmin is probably in my top 10 favorite GameCube games. It was fun, very creative, the locales were breathtaking, and the soundtrack is just awesome. Now, the game does have its share of unsettling enemies, such as beady Longlegs, the Bulborbs, and even Emperor Bulblax due to him giving you a damn heart attack. However, our next contender is found within the distant spring. In the middle of the spring, you see an egg of some kind. Your first instinct is to hit it until it cracks. Big mistake. Holy hell! That is horrific. The smoky prog is just... The first thing that's scary about it is the fact that it goes straight for your landing base. The way this thing walks is unnerving, to say the least. It doesn't need to be fast, it just walks in an irregular pattern. Also, its eyes are soul-piercing. You thought Majora was bad? Well, just take a look at this thing. This thing doesn't even need to attack you. Its trail of ghastly smog is a one-hit kill for all Pikmin. This just proves that you don't need rotting flesh or a carnivorous appetite to be scary. Although it does show that things creepy beyond belief chasing you to no end is terrifying. Which is something our next contender does very well. When playing a Mario game, you usually find yourself surrounded by peaceful creatures and colorful environments. Are you fucking kidding me, Nintendo? Why would you design a character in the shape of a little girl that rapidly snaps her neck and transforms into a spider? Why would you put that in a Mario game? Why would you put that in any game? Did Stephen King develop this? Oh my god, someone call an exorcist. And the kids from Derry. We could really use their holy water and sober right about now. Mimi is seriously one of the most disturbing bitches I know. And I've seen Melina. I mean, just look! Her body is now hollow and dangling from her grotesque spider head! In addition to her revolting appearance, she constantly chases you inside Luigis Mansion, making you feel trapped, alone, and helpless in every sense of the word. Thankfully, this eventually stopped, after Count Bleck and Tippy vanished from Flipside. After that, Mimi ceased her neck contortions and abnormal appendage growths for good. Nevertheless, Mimi still needs to be on this list.
It's me, Mario!
Just with the title screen, you already know where I'm heading. Super Mario 64 is a very fun, very imaginative, and just a downright awesome game. The graphics, the music, the characters, just everything is awesome. But you want to know what's not awesome? The living piano from Super Mario 64 is something that has traumatized millions of gamers in all parts of the world. Even when you know this thing is going to come to life, it always gets you. One of the reasons to this may be because of the extremely unsettling sound it makes. Plus, it's a piano with teeth. Also, why would the piano want to eat you anyway? It's not like it has a digestive tract. But seriously, is there anyone who played this as a kid and didn't get scared by this possessed piano? If so, I will give you my Metroid Prime trilogy absolutely free. Just pay $2,000 for shipping and handling. That's not gonna happen. Okay, I'm gonna be honest here. I actually kind of liked the first Halo game. It was addicting, fun, and had a great sci-fi feel to it. The main threat presented to the plot of Halo is the alien race known as the Covenant. All in all, the Covenant made a great antagonist group. But they weren't exactly menacing or scary in any way possible. At least not to me, anyway. The secondary enemy group of the game is nothing too short of unpleasant.
They're just staring through us! What the? Oh no!
The unveiling of the Flood is something that nobody saw coming. The Flood are parasitic alien life forms that are driven by a desire to infect any biological organism they encounter. These things were such a threat in the past that the ancient Forerunners were forced to kill themselves and all other sentient life nearly 100 millenniums prior to Halo in an effort to starve the Flood to death. Now that is desperate. The Flood themselves are horrifying to fathom. They attack any living thing in their sight just to turn them into bloodthirsty parasitic soldiers which then attempt to eradicate you. The Flood are so iconic that they were actually mentioned in an issue of Rolling Stone. While these aliens are very memorable due to the fear they give off and the plot twist it presents at the end of Halo, I think I'll just stick with the Flood from Super Mario Sunshine. Okay, I know that all prior entries of this list were from Nintendo games, but now we're getting into the real scary stuff. How so? Well, we're taking a trip into Dead Space. God damn, this game is freaky. No matter where you go, you are always in danger of being brutally mangled by undead aliens. The aliens in question are the Necromorphs. These alien abominations should never be underestimated to any extent. Throughout the whole game, these things hunt you to no end. From the most minute enemies to the indestructible regenerating hunter, no matter what size or ferocity, the Necromorphs will always scare the living hell out of players. Strangely enough, the fear given to us actually puts a smile on our face after we've experienced it too much. Whether it be due to masochism or not, I don't know. Despite its harmless exterior, the Zelda series has a lot of disturbing, creepy, and downright horrific enemies. Out of all the creatures in the Zelda franchise, the Floor Masters take the fucking cake. The first thing that creeps me out about these creatures is that, unlike Redeads, the Floor Masters have no body. They're just hands. Now, zombies killing people, that's common, so it gets somewhat bland after a while, at least for me. But getting murdered by a severed hand as big as your whole body, I can't even describe how much that scares me. But the worst thing the Floor Masters do is something out of my friggin' nightmares. In most Zelda games, if you stand still for too long, a Floor Master will drop down to the ceiling and grab you. In the Wind Waker, the Floor Masters grab you and drag you down into the darkness. Some may argue that the Redeads are scarier, but, you know, all it does is scream and rape you. I'm not even gonna make a sick joke about that. I gotta hand it to Miyamoto. Whenever he creates a video game, it's sure to be memorable. Especially with these fucking things in the game. As you know, I'm not too big on the FPS genre. Especially with the modern titles. Right behind GoldenEye and Turok, my favorite SPF game is Half-Life 2. Controlling the badass Gordon Freeman, you just leisurely walk about and all of a sudden... Parasitic head crabs are without doubt the scariest enemies in the Half-Life series. The head crabs attack you by jumping out of nowhere and latching onto your head, hence their name, head crabs. If you let them stay there long enough, they will take over your skull and turn you into a head crab zombie. Even with this 50s B-movie vibe to it, the concept of being attacked and taken over by another organism to do whatever it is they want is just terrifying. Now, while it's shocking to see a pack of head crabs attack you on a TV, just picture experiencing the same thing but with headphones on and your face right near the screen. In other words, playing it on the PC. Well, no matter what version you play, just take a gravity gun with you and you're all set. What good is a list like this without something from the Resident Evil series? Now, we all know that the Resident Evil franchise is infamous for its voice acting, the dreaded QuickTime events, and the fear it gives to the player. But surprise, surprise, our next entry is from the legendary Resident Evil 4. Now, whenever you think of this game, you immediately think of one thing. No, not that annoying bitch. You think of the horrific regenerators. Oh my god. When you think of the term zombie, you normally think about an average-sized, all-around normal undead entity. Okay, now just imagine that combined with the defenses of a Shuckle, the height of the Governator, and the persistence of Bowser. Combine that with unsettling walk patterns and nightmarish moaning, and you get one scary mother. Sure, the head crabs were scary, but at least you can kill them easily. Now, I know your reaction to having the Resident Evil 4 regenerators at only number 2 is something like...
Are you out of your goddamn mind?
Well, with popular opinion set aside, I believe there is another enemy that surpasses them. As stated before, space is home to numerous creatures that will very likely scare the hell out of you. But the worst of them all comes from the world of Metroid. While Metroids themselves can easily be considered the most frightening, the number 1 spot belongs to its natural prey. That's right, it's the X-Parasites. There is no limit to what these things can do. The setting of Metroid Fusion, the BSL research station, is always endangered because of these things. Throughout the whole game, the X literally sabotaged Samus in every way imaginable. After visiting SR388 for the last time, Samus is attacked by a single X-Parasite and causes her to lose consciousness and drift into an asteroid belt. That single X-Parasite multiplied within her and almost killed Samus. But with the help of the Metroid vaccine, she managed to survive. She was then sent to the research station to investigate. When she gets there, she discovers that the X-Parasites have taken over most of the main deck. Aside from the Metroids, every enemy in the game is an X-Parasite. That means that the SAX, Nightmare, Neo Ridley, Arachnus, Zazabi, Cirrus, the box security robot, and this thing are X-Parasites. They endanger your life, they trap you, they hunt you to no end, and they scare you to death. I am Fawful's Minion, and I think that the X-Parasites are the scariest enemies in video game history.